just like to make learning fun, but also highlight great things that are happening in the community. And one thing at the Victoria, we want to really amplify our talents and the people who make the community and who are doing great things in the community. So I actually found you guys personally, and we're gonna start with Derrick Chui. The first time I seen him was he was performing for The Roots. A good friend of mine, Rob Fire, she was having events at the Ordway, and I went to support her, and she had a lot of great dancers, and you really stuck out. And then I found your Instagram page, and then just talking to you now, I learned that you're a videographer. So I'm like, oh, no wonder why his videos look cool, because he's great at dancing. His skills are very energetic, and he really amplifies his culture through African dance in a way that makes you want to chime in and dance with him. And next we have Tearra Oso. She's a performing artist, a healer, and an amazing storyteller. She creates musical medicine, healing, and empowering her audience. Actually seen that happen this year at the Philando tribute. She was performing with the Black Youth Healing Arts Center, which she also does classes there as well. And yeah, you're good.
Thank you.
And then Salena Myers, she's a former dancer. She used to dance with the Falcons, St. Paul Falcons, and Immortal. Growing up through dance inspired her to now lead dance. So now she has her own dance group called Dance with Purpose. And yeah, so everyone here is gifted when it comes to the arts and dance, and is giving back to their community. Each of you guys are teaching the youth or teaching classes, and yeah, so I just want to we're going to have a conversation to learn more about you guys, your craft, and what inspires you, and what you guys are doing in the community, so people who are following us can also support you, and how can we support you guys more. So I just wanted to start off by asking, what inspires you to dance? So we can just, each of you guys chime in and one at a time. So what inspires you?
What inspires me to dance? There's a lot of things that inspire me. This is a hard one because I think dance has been something that's like always been something that I do, or some way how I express. So dance, what inspires me to really dance, I think, is the love for it. So the love for movement, the love for being able to express myself without words, because there's a lot of times where I can't say nothing, but I know my body can express it. Or there's some type of medium that I do know that I have that can express how I feel. So I think that's what makes me love dance, but also inspires me to dance, is the communication, the community aspect, being able to socially connect with someone, even though we may not know each other at all. We may only met each other like at that moment on the dance floor, but for some reason we're able to completely speak to each other, and we've never met before, but we had a full conversation for like an hour dancing on the dance floor, and that's something that continues to inspire me to dance.
Building community without words, right?
Yeah.
I would say one of the things that inspires me to dance is my ancestors. I grew up doing traditional bomba, so it's Afro Boricua music. So just thinking about my ancestors that were enslaved in Puerto Rico and the things that they went through really just shows me that whatever we're going through today, we can get through if we use the tools that we have, you know? So I think my ancestors, but also joy and healing. Like I want to be and live in joy, and I want to be in healing. So knowing that dance is one of the ways that we can live in that space is something that reminds me that it's not just fun, but it's like necessary for us to live our best lives, you know?
Well, for me, I can start off saying what inspires me to teach dance and be a role model the children that, for the children that don't know how to really let out their frustrations and like to keep things bottled up, that was me as a child. And I always tell my students, anybody, like, dance basically just, it saved my life, it helped my sanity. So for me, I see the need. I saw the need years ago when I started the dance program, and I definitely continue to see the need. It's just a way to get your mind to think in a different way. I want to prepare them for responsibilities and learning that camaraderie, that teamwork, loving their bodies, loving who they are. So when they are performing, you know, they get all those compliments, that's something that they can take with them. And I just want to be that support for them. When I was dancing, I forgot about everything else in life. It taught me how to be responsible. It taught me how to be a leader. And it was like the best times of my life. And now I'm doing that for other children. So it's just it's a circle.
I love that. Each of your guys' answers are very powerful. I heard how dance is healing, how it connects you with your ancestors or even strangers. But what really spoke to me was how you're able to express yourself without words. And also, whatever you're going through, this was a place of like just freedom. So I want to know, what does a safe space look like for you? Because as you guys expressed, like, dance seems to be a release or an escape for you. So what does a safe space look like for you?
I think a part of it too is like the leader, like who's leading, can help folks to understand, like get everybody on the same page. Like, okay, we're here and what are we doing? And sometimes it's like we're getting ready for a performance, and sometimes it's like we're having fun or we're learning a new technique, something like that. But I think it really comes to like good leaders to be able to help everybody be seen, help everybody build community together. Sometimes when we're children especially, we're coming to dance to maybe get away from things that are not fun at home, or adults who need some healing or don't know how to be around us in a healthy way. So sometimes we're going to dance to step away from that. So I think sometimes it's being seen or having a space where we can either be loud or be quiet, and only, use our body. I think it's about like being able to be yourself and feeling like you're not going to be judged or not going to be told that you can't be yourself.
She hit it. I was like, I'm gonna say this, and then she hit it. I'm gonna say too. To piggyback off of what she said, basically being able to create spaces that allow people to generally be themselves, because I do find it a lot of the times I've heard or I've seen people where they feel like they're not able to truly be themselves in a space. And for me, from my recollection, I never really had that problem, because I was very outwardly myself in spaces that I was in. So when people go into new spaces especially, you obviously have these walls that you put up, right? If I was going into a new space, there is that certain walls that you put up to protect yourself. But like you said, with leaders in the room or people who have that, who are usually curating the space, just by being vocal, because me being someone who does curate space, being able to tell people that come into the room hey, welcome, you're breaking down what we are already, introducing yourself, meeting those new people that come into your space, and just letting them know that hey, this is the space, this is what's going on. You're welcome to do this, this, and this. If you ever feel some type of way, if there's anything that goes on where you feel uncomfortable, let me know so that we can handle the situation. That is already helping someone who's new coming into the space learn that, like, okay, I do have someone who has got my back in case something does happen. Because there is times where you'll go into a space, you don't really know anyone, and then you're very much like feel like a bystander, even though you want to participate, but you don't feel completely welcomed into that space. And that doesn't help someone completely open up. I wouldn't say most people don't completely open up, but to be themselves in the space, it does take the people who are curating it to make it a safe space. And that starts by literally just introducing yourself, making sure people know that, hey, I'm the person who's putting this together, so if there's problems, if you have questions, because people may have questions, they may have ideas, but they don't know who to go to with it because they're just in a space full of people like, we just happen to all do the same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't really know who to go to with these problems, with these ideas, this feedback, because the person curating didn't completely make it a space for there to be feedback. So just for people who hold space, you just have to definitely get out of that shell if you're someone who's introverted, I guess. But like, get out of that shell to make sure, hey, welcome to the space. Welcoming someone in already does like so much. Literally just saying hello, hey, my name is. So that's what I think what comes down to like creating a safe space.
You know what might not seem obvious too is like being able to be loud. Because I know like there were times where I was at home, or a lot of times we'll want to drum with our dancing or singing, and we've had cops called on us by people who like don't want us to do what we're doing when it's like 7 p.m., right? And so I think like that's something to look at too, a space where you can either play the music loud or drum loud, or just your voices can be loud, and that you're not going to be put in harm because other people don't understand that. So I think that's why a lot of these spaces that are in big buildings where we can feel secure, feel that separation from the outside can be really helpful too. Kind of crazy to think about, but.
For me, unfortunately, I've had to remove my dance team from a few different spaces because the children couldn't be themselves. Mm-hmm. And adults viewed them as a task. There was a situation where opening the door for my children became such a huge issue, and it was winter, making sure that there was water available for them was a huge task. And there was a lot of different things that just kept blowing up. And for me, I'm an energy person. If I'm seeing that a situation is just not meshing well, and I see that my children are uncomfortable, I'm not gonna stay there. I always try to find a way to get out of a situation. I want them to feel like when they're coming somewhere that they don't have to look over their shoulder, they don't have to tiptoe through the hallways because somebody might get aggravated. And for me, a safe place is just where they can make their noise, do what they have to do, speak their mind, and just be happy about coming to practice, and welcome. Exactly, and welcome. That was the main thing, People are not welcoming, and just, I can't deal with that. I want people to feel happy when they come to the team or when they're coming to practice. That's how you maintain focus. If you're worried and looking over your shoulder and all that other stuff, then there's a problem.
The world needs to hear that. Like, we are in spaces and our kids are being viewed a certain way and unwelcome. So what is that teaching them? And I was an educator, so my thinking is always from a teacher's perspective, but I just want adults and people in the world to be more aware of how we're treating our youth and how that is creating and preparing the next generation. So you can't say you want change, but you're making our youth feel a certain way, or there's no safe spaces for them. So they're gonna grow up in a defensive mode mechanism, like just always in defense, looking over their shoulder, not feeling welcome. Listening to what you guys just said, a lot of what a safe space is, you guys mentioned just having a great leader, so great mentors, great teachers, really just somebody who loves you and is guiding you. So I want to know when was the beginning of your journey in dance as a youth? Like, tell me more about who was that safe, what was the safe space for you growing up? Like, where did you go, and who was your favorite teacher who really created that safe space?
I've always been dancing, because like growing up around, I was born in Kenya, and then I moved here when I was 2 years old. But like growing up within just African American culture, being around hip hop culture, dance is just like, it's a part of hip hop. So when you just like, you don't realize that, like I'm learning dance, you just like, I'm just surrounded by it.
Yeah.
And then after a while, I realized like, I think I really wanted to get into it was probably around, like, I was in middle school, YouTube, was watching a lot of YouTube dancing, and that's like how I started off. Like when I started to like, I want to start learning, I started learning as a breaker. So I was breaking, learning from YouTube, and then after a while, decided I was like, I don't want to hurt myself. More so, I didn't want to like lose my hair, because doing head spins, the pressure will make you lose hair. So I was like, dang, I did not want to have a bald spot at like 23, 24.
Yeah.
So therefore, I'm gonna stick to standing up. So that's when I got into hip hop freestyle. Mind you, like I'm teaching myself all the way until like I was like hitting high school. I started to meet other dancers who also were interested, and because of their interest, we started dancing together and going over to each other's houses and be like, oh, we're gonna have a dance session. We're meeting up at this person's house, and then we're sitting dancing in the basement for like 4 or 5 hours. Right? Or they come over to my house, dancing for like 3-4 hours, and then my mom makes food, and then we eat together. So a lot of times, I think the first safe spaces was just like you and your friends. At least for me, being it's street dance. Like none of us had actual like teachers. We didn't go to any studios, because most 90% of studio, let me say 99%, like 98, 90% of studios are not teaching you street styles. So you're either learning on your own, you either have to find a studio that does teach it and does teach it correctly, which that is also another thing within itself, but finding those instructors. But we didn't have that, so we're just teaching each other, we're going online, we're researching, we're figuring out who our OGs are, and from there, it went from high school. After high school, I started getting more involved in just like the community, so the dance community. Like I knew about it, but like I wasn't involved in the dance scene here, or the street dance scene here in Minnesota, until like I graduated high school, and that's when like I was in. Like I was going to classes, I was going to events. Mind you, like most events that were being hosted, there'll probably be someone I knew was there. That's also what helped make it somewhat of a safe space for me. I'm like, at least I know someone here. I don't know like 80% of the people in this room, but like I know my friends we're here. And then from there it turns into like meeting people within the community. When you have good leaders in the community, they definitely help create those safe spaces. A lot of the times, the ones who were hosting sessions and places to dance were the people who are like, okay, this person I go to, they're creating a safe environment for me. And then you actually see them continue to curate safe environments by having those checks, those balances. When stuff happens like, yo, we don't do that here, or this is happening, we don't allow that in our community or our scene. That's how I really got involved into dance. During that time, like, that's when I got into like feet, and then that just led me down the journey to ending up being a leader in the community, even though that's not what like I wanted. I generally did not. I just want to dance, and then I learned a style that little to no one knew in Minnesota, and then it became go to Chui if you want to learn this. I'm like, now I'm becoming a pioneer for a style that I just wanted to learn and not put into a leadership position, but something like I've learned to take on. That's my journey.
Push you to be your best self.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I started dancing, I grew up doing bomba, so it's traditional Afro-Boricua music, and I didn't understand how powerful it was, and now looking back, I'm seeing my younger self as being like really introverted. I would get in trouble for little things, so I just did not express myself emotionally outwardly, and I realized through dance, you know, it's from our ancestors who were enslaved, so they were really getting out a lot of just harsh energy, right? And so I think that kind of dance is really good for me to be able to just get any emotions out that I don't even know are there, or what to do with them. So I think that was really beautiful, and it's like tender thinking about my little self doing that. But it's also amazing that like all the artist grants in Minnesota that brought people from Puerto Rico, from New York, Chicago up here to St. Paul. So that's really another thing that got me to get excited about dance and what we were doing with the music. And then also, like, I grew up in the 90s. There was such fun choreography. Like, we were dancing to everything. There was Michael Jackson. There was like Britney Spears stuff. You know, you get the little pop. And so yeah, I think too, like, you're looking back with your friends and how you're like, oh, let's do this. And then, so I went to Central High School, and my friend, Luis Castillo, he used to do these Michael Jackson shows. So he would like dress up like Michael Jackson, and he was so good. Like, we would do like a 2-hour show, and we did like a Janet section too. So we had a lot of fun just like learning the exact choreography and like doing big shows and getting the outfits. And I think that's what's crazy about dance too, like how much of it is like what you look like and what you're gonna wear, and its expression, right?
Yes. That's where I saw you.
No way.
One of those shows. Yeah. You say his name.
Yep, Luis Castillo. We have fun, right?
He was at School Connection.
Yeah.
Well, let me see here. I have a few to give my shout outs to. I started dancing, I think, when I was around 5. I remember being in the Elks drill team. I don't think I did that for a long time, but I was on the team. And I remember back then, in order to like be on the performance squad or whatever it was, you had to have pom-poms. And I could not get those pom-poms. You had to have the pom-poms on your boots, because that meant that you were the next level, you could perform. I couldn't get my pom-poms, which was fine. But I remember also being enrolled in Rainbow Theater. That used to be on Selby Avenue. Nobody remembers that space. But that was like our little dance theater right on Selby, and I feel like it was Victoria, if I'm not mistaken. And then from there, I got on a dance team called the United Steppers. of course, we stepped and we were connected to a church, so everything was very modest. You know, we were just really stepping. We weren't doing too much of the gyrating and everything that all the other teams was doing. Which I didn't have a problem with any of that. You know, I thought it was cool when you could break it down. But
Pop it.
right. But I learned a lot, you know, and rest in peace, Shalita Glass. She was the one who was over us at the time, and she pushed me, and she was like, you know what, you're gonna be the captain. So I'm like, what? I get a leadership position? So I took it and I ran with it in a good way. It was amazing. You know, we didn't last a long time, and the other teams would always be like, why are you on this team? Like, you should be over here dancing with us. And of course, I'm looking at these other teams like, man, I do want to go over there. I want to do this, but I'm dedicated to my team, so I didn't just want to abandon them. But when we did separate, that's when I did go to the Falcons, and I loved it. I loved every second of being a St. Paul Falcon. I mean, just the style was who I was. I loved everybody on the team. It was just the drums. I always loved drums, and we had one of the baddest drum lines. So, you know, it was everything for me. And again, I got taught discipline. I got taught leadership as well. You know, I was helping to make up routines and things like that. So that was something else that made me feel happy. I needed that for myself. And then once I left drill, I went over to dance. And that's when I danced with my cousin Levi. And I loved every second of that. I got to travel, you know, got to dance at concerts and things like that. So I stepped it up a notch. And being on Immortal taught me a lot about the dramatics with putting together routines and things like that. I did skip one part. Wait a minute now. I cannot forget my Miss Van, Miss Arlene Van, that was the dance teacher at Central High School. That woman was amazing. I'm so glad that she's still around. She Facebook messages me sometimes just out of the blue, just something beautiful. And to hear that she's proud of me makes me so happy, because I learned a lot in dance class, like ballet, tap, all types of stuff that everybody else wasn't trying to mess with. But me, I wanted to learn all of that. I remember doing dances from the 60s and being happy and performing. Like, that is why now, Dance with Purpose, we do majorette, because I think it's just awesome. But for me, I like to incorporate the theatrical parts of everything. And other teams, like, we'll lose points, you know, in competitions for not doing what is traditionally expected from teams. Like, we like to make up skits. We like to do all types of different things. We dance differently. And I'm never gonna change that, regardless of whatever. But that's why we do what we do. And I wanted my team to be a majorette team, because they can take that to college and just tear it up. And right now, a lot of my girls, they could go to college and they'll be like, okay, let me snatch you up. You know, you need just a little bit more technique, but you got the juice. You know, that's how I want them to feel. That's why I need to find a way to get a college tour going, because I need them to see that front and center.
Y'all hear that?
Right.
Salena Myers. Yes.
What age are you talking about?
I start out with age 7, and my oldest is 16.
Okay. Satara, you know Satara with Love First.
Yeah.
Aren't they doing a college tour for young girls?
They did do one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if they went already or not.
Don't worry, love is power, and I'm gonna find you some resources. Because what you're doing is great. One thing that I love is just the mentorship, strong leadership and mentorship, and it really shows that you have been around great leaders because you've become one, and great leaders create more great leaders. And I think that's the most important thing in whatever programming. All of you guys are in spaces under great leadership. So I want to know, what type of programming would you like to see at the Victoria? Just what do you think would have been helpful when you were younger, or what do you see is missing for our youth now that you believe should be provided for them, and that the Victoria can possibly fill that missing spot?
Yeah, I think a word that came up for me is consistency, because either you're there every week, or you're, like consistently there, or you're deciding to do like more workshops that are, maybe a couple of weeks or something like that. So I guess like different just situations where kids can choose whatever is going to be better for their schedule. And I think like dance, obviously, all different kinds of techniques. And also I think something that's been popping up is transportation. So like having transportation for youth to get to the place and then also to get home, it would be really helpful. I think we get all these grand ideas, and then like that's one detail that it's like, oh yeah, like we have to get them there, and then we have to get them home too. Sometimes they don't have that situation. But yeah, I know for me, like bomba has been really beautiful. It is like specialized too. It's a lot of West African movement, but also like flamenco in it, because they're making fun of their Spanish colonizers. So that's like the marriage of that. But I think just bomba classes is just really fun. So we've been doing some at Black Youth Healing Arts Center, but we've been focused on the drums. So it's like a little bit of dance, but not a full thing. But I would be down to just to teach some technique, and really to create spaces where we get to just improv. Because what I do with bomba, it's not about choreography. Like you can have some, but it's traditionally all improv. So if you can like build up some technique in that, and then get people to go off and do what they want to do, I think that'd be really beautiful. And I think the live music with it too is really helpful. Obviously, like music that's pre-recorded is amazing too. And at the same time, there's something so crazy about live drums, or you could do both, you know what I'm saying? Like some recorded and then like just drum over it. But yeah. And then what's crazy about bomba is that the drummers follow the dancer, or like at least one drum follows what the dancer is doing. So it's like the dancer is making the music up too. So that's another element that's good to have live. Yeah, let's do it. You want to do it right now? Should we show the kids at home? No.
Look, I wish. I'm supposed to have on my sling right now.
Listen, what's really cool about bomba is you can use your shoulders, like you can use your neck. Ah, man. How about dang, that's messed up. Did they tell you what to do about it?
Yes.
Are you doing it?
They're like, you shouldn't be overextending your arms. So I'm like, they wanted me to dance at our last competition. Like, all the coaches, they're like, go out there. I said, I can't.
And you get on stage like, and then the endorphins hit, and you just end up hitting it anyways. And then after, it's like, oh man.
Well, I think that definitely I'm going to have to piggyback off of that and say transportation definitely would be something that would be great. Having all the different types of dances, being taught, workshops, and that healing. So any way to incorporate like healing and affirmations and things like that definitely is something that is needed all over the place. And what better way to do it, you know, before or after they dance, when they're in that dance mind state and they connect the two as positive things. You know, they're like, yeah, I go do my routines, and then, hey, I learned how to meditate. Hey, I learned that standing in front of the mirror and giving myself compliments will make my day better. So that's what I think.
That's beautiful. I think it's amazing how like sometimes even one or two sentences to, you know, a group can add so much meaning to what you're doing already. So I think that is really important.
And one thing you said earlier, like you mentioned your teacher saying like, you're gonna be the captain. Like you didn't see that yourself, but the fact that she said that, now you were able to believe and see it. And all you needed was somebody to believe in you for you to believe it. So that's very important as well.
Yeah, that is true.
Showing us things we didn't even know we needed to know.
I know.
So dance has changed a lot from, for instance, you mentioned learning 60s dance and ballet, tap dancing, and then today's music, popular music and culture, TikTok dance. So dance has evolved. I just want to know your guys' perspective on the positives and negatives of how it's evolved with the advancement in technology, but also how is it affecting our youth? I know personally, like twerking, I got 4 boys, I got little sons. That's a popular dance. So sometimes I'm like, what are you doing? But if that's what he's seeing on TikTok, it's,
So my sense of this is actually, the way I like to explain it is that, so when we have, working with youth, a lot of times I can show them a Running Man, I can show them Party Machine, right? I can show them these, you consider old school moves, right? But mind you, like when you started learning to dance, that was probably what you saw. I was like, I saw everyone doing this move. Like for me, when I like started getting into dance, one of the first like ones I can remember at least was like the Dougie, as well as Dougie, Jerk, Cat Daddy, Chicken Noodle Soup, right? Ended up being full circle because Chicken Noodle Soup is one of the first like viral light feet dance songs, right? So for me, that's what I saw like growing up, and I thought like that was the coolest thing ever. For them, it's what the media is showing them. So for them, if it's them getting sturdy or known as geeking, that might be what they're really into. They're like, I've seen some kids like go crazy. I'm like, the fact that you're doing that like is like actually quite insane. Like when I'm teaching you, they're like, oh, this is difficult. But then I see them like flip. I'm like, what? So for them, that is hip hop, right? A lot of the styles that they learn, Jersey footwork, Philly footwork, club styles, that's their generation of what they're learning. The same way when I was learning jerking, I was learning the Dougie, right? And I don't want to be like, don't learn this, right? Because that is their gateway. So I've always advised teachers, especially if you're teaching youth in hip hop, I'm like, you know these dances that are going on right now, teach that to youth. Like that is what they find interesting. It's different like compared to breaking. Mind you, breaking, because it's, you could say trick heavy or very like complicated, if you're teaching a kid how to do a windmill or a flare, when they finally get that windmill or that flare, there's a lot of gratification, like when you hit it, right? It's like, I've been working months, a year, like it took me like years till I was able to get like a windmill or to get a flare, right? And like when you land it, like you're psyched out compared to if I'm learning how to do the Dougie, like,
Right.
there's not as much like, oh, oh, I got it. For me, it was the journey. Once I was able
Comfortably.
comfortably, like I was like, but there is not as much gratification for them learning these styles of dance. So teaching them styles or getting an entryway into these styles that they are seeing every day is their dance, right? So I always tell people like, continue to push that, because that's what's gonna get them to love dance. What got me to love dance was learning how to hit the reject, right? When I was able to Dougie, when I was able to hit these moves that really like got me to love dance, especially when you're doing it with friends and because it's so social. So that's my viewpoint on it. I definitely like very much like for like TikTok dances, even though it's not TikTok dances most of the time, it's just hip hop. I'm like, you're just learning hip hop. This is just a new generation of hip hop.
Maybe a shorter song, something.
Maybe, but yeah, it's just what the kids are consuming. So I always like, same way when I was going on YouTube and searching up dance videos, it's just them, they're getting it way faster. There's new dances coming out way more than when I was in elementary.
Wild.
That's my couple 2 cents on it if anyone wants to piggyback.
Yeah. Don't want to piggyback. Yeah, it's interesting. It's making me think about living in LA. I lived in LA for a few years. I've come back and forth a few times. But just thinking about like full classes there that are full choreography, and that's really what's expected of dancers. And so I think it depends on where you're at in your dance journey. Because if you're younger and it's just like, this is fun and I don't want to try to think about it as a career, I think that's different. It's more about like finding your voice and who you are. And I think it's always about finding your voice and who you are in dance, but I think there's a crossover point where it's like, okay, if you're going to be doing this for real, you got to be able to retain like this amount of choreography, because there's so many other people that are going to be able to do that. And if you want to compete and you really want to like get out there and tour with people, you're going to have to retain more information. So yeah, I guess it just depends on like what the goal is of the class.
Yeah.
If it's more for fun or for profession.
Yeah, I think also I forgot who the choreographer was. It was a class in LA. I saw a clip of it. He was talking about like TikTok dances, and he was like, y'all, it's okay to TikTok all these dances that you see online, you do them, but mind you, that is not your training. Like that is not your conditioning. You being in the class and being able to retain that 1 minute, 30 seconds, like 90 seconds of choreography, that is where the conditioning is at.
Yeah.
So don't keep taking these dances, it's fun, continue doing them, but mind you, if, like you said, if you want to take it, if you're at that point where like, okay, maybe I do want to take this to the next level, continue to have that fun, but realize now, like, you do have to start conditioning your body differently compared to you just hanging out and dancing. Now it's like, okay, now I have to treat my body. I say dancers, you should treat your body like athletes.
Yeah.
Because when you start doing that, one, your progression, it goes crazy. So like you start dancing differently, you start treating your body differently, and you're able to dance much longer when you start treating your body like an athlete does. Mm-hmm. So definitely there is that time, like there's that silver line where it's like, I'm doing it for fun, which should be like the whole way, but then there's like that, okay,
extra push.
now it's like, okay, I want to do this for real. I'm gonna have to like lock in real quick,
Yeah.
and take it to that next level, and take my training or whatever it is to the next level.
I'm on the fence with the TikTok dances, and it's only, a lot of it is because the music that's used for these dances, I've lightened up a lot. Like when with like the music selection, you know, before, like I'm like, no, mainstream, we're only doing major act, I don't want to hear none of that, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm like, okay, just calm down, just you know, censor it and do whatever you gotta do. And that irritates me the most. You know, the dances are cute, and these kids just go crazy over them. But they posted, and I guess it's fine for their parents. I don't know, but for me, I'm like, I don't want to see this. Like, what are you dancing to? Like, what did he sing that song? And you doing what? You twisting and popping your butt at this part? Oh Lord. So.
What's messed up about that? It's because like a lot of it is because the track is so good, right? Like the instrumental is so good. How dope would that be if like just somewhere in St. Paul people just redid these songs that we really like, but like, and it's still cool, you know, the lyrics are still great, but it's not like using the vulgarity, but it's still using the instrumental, you know? I think that would be really cool.
That's fine. Like, we had to do instrumentals before.
Listen.
You're not dancing to this. You can use an instrumental, and that's it. Because yes, there are songs with great beats, but I can't promote that. Like I don't like it. And me being a full-blown adult that can do whatever she wants, I don't listen to all this music. Because it's just not.
Why would you consider?
Yeah, it doesn't fit with the vibe, my vibration. I don't want to hear all that mess. I just don't. And I don't want my dancers to dance to it. And I just really wish they didn't know the lyrics to these songs either. But again, I can't control what they're doing. But I know, and Dance with Purpose, like, no, we're not going to do that. You know, they always like, it's Salena. But then they know. I'm like, I don't want your parents to feel a certain way, you know, if you're dancing to a song and they're talking about yada, 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 you know? No, I don't care. I pay attention to the titles, you know, things like that. There's one song I have a regret about. But, you know.
What is it?
Oh my God. It was the remix to, okay, you know Beyonce's song, I've been drinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so a rapper did a song that sounded like Drunken Love. But his lyrics were different. And when I really sat and thought about that song, I'm like, ooh, they shouldn't have been dancing to this.
Because they be all night or what?
No, he was talking about a lot. I mean, the parts that they were dancing to, it wasn't like really vulgar, but then I thought about like when I listened to the rest of the song, I'm like, ooh wee. I apologize.
That's kind of made me sad is like when you watch movies and just stuff from the past when technology wasn't like a main thing, like there's more connection to life. Like I just visited Central High School recently and it was just very like isolated. Like everyone was in their own like world and it wasn't like a together world. Like I remember going to lunch and you had dance battles, rap battles, roasting battles. Like lunch was the place to be and that's not happening no more. And the other thing is like slow dancing. You don't see like true love or connection with the youth, or not even like youth, but just young people, where like you might have a crush and be like, oh, I'm nervous, like asking, hey, can I have your hand to dance? Can you dance? Like, so that's something that I've noticed has changed with technology because now everything comes so fast and easy. Like you don't even, if you have a crush, you just go like their picture or you send them a message and there's no like even working hard. Like I need to give her a flower or no, like that doesn't even happen anymore. So yeah, but our time's ending and before we go, we at the Victoria were big in support. So let us know what you guys have going on. How can we support you? And just let the community know, like, what do you have going on? Like, do you have some shows coming up? Do you have classes? How can we support Dance with Purpose?
One DNA is the name of the brand.
I love it.
They're from Michigan or Illinois.
Okay.
But I got it because it was like I'm on TikTok, I've been creating stuff, and then I bought the hat. Then when I was in New York, he did a pop-up, showed up, met the owner, and then because we've been following each other, and he gave me some free pants as well. I was like, oh, great. But anything that's going on with me right now, so dance-wise, nothing super, like, I don't have any performances or anything coming up, but I do teach classes, or my only open classes are at Hot House, that's over Northeast Minneapolis. Teach Tuesdays from 6:30 to 7:30, and then afterwards I host light feet sessions, so that's welcome to all styles, just light feet music will be played the whole time. And then on Saturdays we have hip hop sessions, hosted by me, David Jr., Waswa, and Ku. So that's a space where anyone can come in. All styles are welcomed. Just hip hop music will be played the whole night. So that's like from 9 to whenever we decide to end. Because sometimes it'll be like 9 to like 2, sometimes it'll be like 9 to 12. Just depends on the vibe. That dance-wise, that's what I got going on. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a filmmaker, photographer, currently in the process of putting together a documentary, and so the more support, the better. And if you have any connections or would like to reach out to me about that stuff, that'd be amazing, because I currently made the proof of concept for the documentary. Now I just need funding to continue doing the documentary because I need to travel for it. So that's what I got going on. I'll pass it to my left.
Big dreams. Speaking of big dreams, no, I was kidding. So I'm at the Black Youth Healing Arts Center every week. We're doing different drumming on Wednesdays from 5 to 6. So we had been doing bomba every week, and then I was like, let's also bring in some other African diasporic drumming too. So that is, sometimes we're talking about history, sometimes we're singing songs, sometimes we're dancing, and we're always drumming. And then there's a transformation coach that comes in after that from 6:30 to 7:30. So this is on Wednesdays. So it's like, if you can be there from 5 to 7:30, it's just like a healing vibration, goodness, resonance, all of that. And I have an album out, so I created a new genre called bomba pop, where I took the rhythms from bomba, they're West African rhythms, and mixed them with other instrumentation. I had my friend Rick Rock from Mint Condition produce some of the tracks, really like 3 of them, and then I produced the rest of them. So it's on Spotify and Tidal and all that stuff, YouTube. You can look me up, Tearra Oso, and it's all like about healing, and it's all like family friendly, because I'm like that too. Like, I'm not trying to talk about no craziness, and like maybe I'll listen to some craziness depending on the level, but what I'm talking about is always going to be about transformation and healing and just feeling better. So you can listen to that if that's your vibe. You can play it at work or for kids, and so I'm still creating content for that, and then also just creating the music. I was working on a new song all day. I've been just singing and drumming with some different groups, tribal fusion, so I'm not going to be there this weekend. But yeah, so if you go to any of the summer ciphers, you can look up Summer Cypher. It's Kamani Beard, and they've been doing Summer Cypher for a long time. So we'll pop up there and drum and dance and sing and stuff. And what else?
I like Summer Cypher.
Yeah.
Their summer schedule was busy, but I tried to partner with them a couple times.
Yeah, there's some stuff coming up. So they're going to have one this Saturday, October 21st. I think I'll be there during the day, and then I got to leave. So earlier, like from 1 to 3, I'll be there. And other than that, just like some smaller, more specialized things that I do. Sometimes I'll do things at schools and stuff like that pop up. But hit me up, Tearra Oso. You'll see what I'm doing on Instagram, Facebook. And yeah, let's just be in community. Let's be about healing these children, healing ourselves, just living our best lives, transforming anything negative into something better. That's what I'm here for. So if you about that, hit me up. I'm out here now.
So we are doing a dance showcase next week, so October 28th at Dayton's Bluff Rec Center from 1:30 to around 4-ish. This is like a fundraiser for us. Dance with Purpose and another team out of St. Cloud called the Rat Downs. We're teaming up to just put together a showcase because there are teams out here that don't really get to perform a lot or don't have like the network, so they're not really, people don't see them enough to say, hey, I need you to perform here, there, and everywhere. So I do have a couple new teams, which is great, and it's gonna be fun. Like, we just put a whole twist to the showcase, and we're excited about that. Also, Dance with Purpose is doing open enrollment now, so if anybody from the ages of 7 to 18, if you want to get your children involved, we are the only St. Paul team currently, so if you want your children to be a part of a dance family, we are open for enrollment. Let's see.
I also highlighted Salena as your kid's favorite teacher because she's doing great things. If you guys have been listening the whole time, like, it just shows she's a great leader with good intention. So
thank you. Everybody can always support us by enrolling your children, coming to our events. I mean, if anybody wants to donate anything, like right now, because we are doing fundraising right now, I mean, you could hit me up or go to, or Cash App, Dance with Purpose. This is what it is, sweet and simple. We're just always looking for performances and opportunities. I want the children to always be consistently performing and keeping themselves busy. Again, we do want to get connected to colleges, even if we have to start off with some colleges here, just so they can walk into a college and see something different. I mean, there might be something that I don't know about out there. So if anybody has those connections, that would be great. There's a lot that I always need. Right now we're in a nice space, but I'm always looking to just find something that's absolutely permanent to where I have the key and to able to open the door whenever I need it to be, so it could really be the dance company that I envisioned. So just trying to keep trucking, get some funding, get some sponsors, all that good stuff.
Well, I want to thank each of you guys for coming and sitting down, having this conversation with me. You each are leaders. I usually say future leaders, but I always say be the change you want to see. And change is here because we are the change. So continue to do what you guys are doing in the community, and change is here.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap.